Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Astral Jewels platform. I hope you've been doing well since the last time I saw you. And yes, how have you been enjoying the auroras that we've had recently? And so interesting to have such a phenomena so far away from either the Arctic Circle or Antarctica. Amazing. Absolutely. And I want to say and acknowledge a thank you to Pascal Najati for verifying my work that the solar eclipse that we had in May was in Pisces and not in Aries. So that is nice to hear that coming from somebody else. As a sidereal astrologer, it's a bit like pushing it uphill against the tropical mob. But as I've said many times, sidereal is in line with the sky and it's a visual. So today we're going to review June, and this is a month I've been waiting for because there will be changes apparent, and we have been waiting for these changes. We've been waiting. So patience has been required, and you may be rewarded from today onwards. So today is the 31st of May. So just beforehand that you're hearing this for the first time. And June is going to rock. So let's get on with it. So firstly, looking at the slides here. Now you may want to enlarge it so that you can see what's actually going on. Now I went through the sun in Taurus in last month's review. So if you have your birthday between the 15th of May to the 15th of June, you are in fact a Taurus using the sidereal model. Okay, so what's coming up, however, is we've got the sun in Gemini. And from the 16th of June to the 16th of July, your birthday is, or your constellation, your sign, your birth sign is Gemini. Okay, so a little bit about Gemini. It's the ruler of the third house astrologically, and it's the house of communication and siblings. So it's your brothers and sisters. And Gemini is ruled by Mercury, the god of communication, said to be the messenger of the gods. And Mercury rules over trade and merchandise, short journeys, humor, quick-wittedness and playfulness, things like that. Generally, people who've got a strong Mercury, and if they were born between 16th of June and 16th of July being a Gemini, you're likely to have a flexible mind. Geminis and mercurial people are very quick with their mind, and it's generally quite flexible. And if you do have a reasonably strong Mercury or Gemini and you don't have a flexible mind, it's likely that something else is influencing you more strongly, which could be a Saturn or a Capricorn type of influence. Okay, so to find Gemini in the sky, look for the alpha star Pollux and the beta star Castor. These two are the heads of the twins, and as you can see in the diagram, it looks like two people, hence the twins. And it will be easier to find Taurus and the Pleiades, or the seven sisters first, or even the Orion constellation, and go from there if you want to hunt for what Gemini looks like in the sky. Okay, so now let's start with the planets and their angles for the month of June. Well, guess what? It's my solar return. So happy solar return to me on the 1st of June. I had to add that because, well, why not? You can share my birthday with me. And what is it? I think it's something like, it's the first day of winter on the 1st of June. So that's a bit sad for us down in the southern parts of Australia, because it's starting to get really, really cold. And for those in the northern hemisphere, things are starting to warm up really nicely. So lucky you. Okay, so looking at the wheel, notice that on the 1st, the position of Uranus is in Aries for its last day for a long time. It's been really stirring things up in Aries. It's been the beginning of the psychological war that's been going on. There's a lot of stuff going on politically, as you would be aware. So there is an alignment currently between Uranus, Mercury, Jupiter, and Venus, and the Sun. So you can see where that arrow is there. It's between 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock. If you use that wheel as a clock, you'll see that cluster down the bottom there, which includes Uranus. So that's this cluster here between Uranus, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, and the Sun. That's a strong set of forces in combination. And Uranus and Mercury, it signifies communication being magnified and electrified. You know, Uranus, it's a force that is very electric. Jupiter expands anything that it touches, and it is the biggest planet in our solar system, as you know. So this alignment includes, you know, the beautiful Venus, which is conjunct the Sun, and those two together, it's a lovely force, absolutely lovely force. So I'm really looking forward to a beautiful day on my solar return. They call it the solar return because that's when the sun comes back to the day that you were born. Much better than what they're calling it now. So, you know, the Jupiter, Sun, Venus alignment, that's a magnificent set of forces. You have the goddess nature of Venus being brought out in full, and Jupiter expands it, right? So very, very, you should be able to feel that, you know, tune into that more than the negative stuff that's going on. And that's going to help you with your transformation. It's going to help you deal with what's happening with the Pluto force and the Chiron force that is getting people into their wounds. And also the Saturn force, because all those people that are contending with having to change their tribe, you know, the people that they mingle with, because this has changed over the last few years. So even though the fire of Uranus is likely burning some people, remember it's like a cattle prod for change. And the forces of Jupiter, Sun, and Venus give a buoyancy to it. It lightens it up, gives it levity. It's not so heavy and difficult. So it's not all doom and gloom. You have the choice, of course, to align to this buoyancy instead of falling prey to the electric shocks that Uranus can bring. And if you've been watching, you know, the previous planetary reviews, you will notice I'm repeating myself when it comes to Saturn, Pluto, and Neptune particularly, you know, even Uranus. But just a reminder, Pluto continues to do its bulldozing in Capricorn, bringing down all that is not working for humanity. It has to happen. It took, you know, they say Rome wasn't built in a day. It took a long time. Well, the deconstruction also is going to take a long time. And Pluto in Capricorn is there for approximately 15 years. We've got a long way to go. So Pluto is at 7 degrees Capricorn now and is retrograde, meaning it's like it's spinning on the spot. It's not moving forward. So retrogrades can work in people's favor for focused intensity. And it's a good thing. People want that, right? But for others, the deconstruction they experience of what is not working in their lives can be hard to take. So, you know, I know a lot of people that are finding it really tough at the moment. It's not fun. It really isn't. So you can't avoid what's happening. You can't avoid what's going on in terms of, you know, the planetary forces. You might as well, you know, take a deep breath and go with it. Trying to avoid and going against Pluto's strong guttural type energy is actually fruitless. You can make yourself, you know, sick trying to avoid what's going on, and it's like swimming upstream. So go with the flow of what's going on with Pluto. Go with it. It's much easier. It's demanding you transform. So go there. You need to change your life. We all need this change to happen. Okay. Now, Saturn, going back to Saturn. So you're going up to around 10 o'clock on the wheel. Saturn is still in Aquarius. So it continues to give you lessons about your friends and acquaintances, communities and groups in which you are involved in. This can also include family members. You know, how many of you have separated yourself out from, you know, the status quo of the mundane and have found new groups, new friends, new acquaintances that are more in line with your passions and your values? Be interesting to know how many this is affecting, because it's a lot. There are tons of people having to go through this, and it's good. You know, in short, this is the time to find your tribe. This whole Saturn in Aquarius, it's a game changer in terms of where you are situated, in terms of your social experiences, the people you want to be around. Okay. So as well, Saturn is squaring the Sun and Venus. So that's a 90-degree angle. And that's at the beginning of June, which is, it's giving structure to the Taurus energy. So it's making it a little bit more serious. You know, the Taurus energy, you know, it's ruled by Venus. It can actually be superficial, and it can be all about stuff. And there is a superficiality to the Venus element. There is positive and negative to every planet, every one of them. You can take on the higher mode or the lower mode, and it's up to you. So with Saturn squaring the Sun, it's actually getting people to look at the integrity of the Venus force or the Taurus energy, and look at lessons to do with values. That's what's on the cards very strongly, and I'll get into that shortly. So then we've also got Neptune in Pisces, and Pisces is helping with the spiritual awakening. We're moving from being delusional human beings. You know, we've been conned into believing everything that has been thrown at us for thousands of years. We gullible humans were easy prey, and that can be a Neptune lower mode force. Since the Great Awakening began, humanity is being lifted out of the slumber, out of the sleep. You know, some kicking and screaming with this change. You know, of course, some are still dozing in ignorance and will most likely stay there. But those listening to this podcast know what I'm talking about. With the help of Pluto and Uranus, Neptune in Pisces is a major player in the awakening, and it enables our consciousness to be elevated and focused toward our spiritual selves. Good old Neptune, hey. You know, these forces are, you know, they're heralding in the ascension process. You know, it's taking us from the material 3D reality to seeing our real selves via 4D and beyond. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. You've heard that many times. And part of the current chapter in our lives is pulverizing the dark forces that have dominated our consciousness. In essence, collectively, this means placing light into our own darkness. And not blame everything out there. It's inside that we've got to look at. Cleaning up our unseen negativity means, you know, these dark forces have nothing to feed on, right? This is where inner work is required. It is necessary. Just know that the dark forces feed off what's called our loosh, our emotional, you know, energy that we give off. They feed off that. But if they've got nothing to feed off, what happens? They go somewhere else. So we've got to clean up the parts of us that are giving off that loosh energy. That's really necessary. So this is what's going on. There is a demolition of dark forces going on at the moment. It's a big one. So Neptune is currently sextile Jupiter at the moment. So this is a beautiful mix of energies. You know, it's heralding spiritual vastness as well as empathy, generosity, and compassion. This will be in place until the middle of June. So it's a nice little stint here. It's relatively short, sadly. It's a short relationship for the moment, but you know, it's welcome. It's definitely welcome. One would wish that it was always present, to always have that spiritual vastness and, you know, empathy and compassion and generosity. You know, we can't have enough of that. But we are getting a stint of it for the first half of June, which is fantastic. Now, again, we have Chiron conjunct the North Node, which is the axis of destiny, as well as Mars. And Mars will be placing more focus of will into healing wounds, which people are really in at the moment. And this is both personally and globally. Okay, so Chiron and Mars is like 3 o'clock on the wheel, if you're wanting to see that there. So, you know, although Chiron is a dwarf planet, it's a big key. Chiron is a key, and that's what the symbol looks like. It packs a punch and it's a necessary player in this game, right? On your stage of life, it's really doing its thing at the moment. Dealing with your wounds is never easy, but you know eventually you have to go there. And whether it is this life or the next, you might as well be doing it in this life. Seriously. Lord knows what the next one's going to look like. We don't know for you, okay? So get on with it. Use the Chiron force, use the Pluto, use all the forces to their positive advantage and do the transformation. Dig into your wounds, find out what's not working for you and correct it. Get into the positives of these energies. And Chiron, like all of the others, has fantastic positive energy. It actually becomes a major teaching influence on you, where you become the teacher of all the experiences you've had, and you can there go forward and help influence other people and help them with their journey. It makes for a much more wise and confident person, someone who has been around the traps, not born yesterday type person. You know what goes on. It's a good dangle carrot. You might as well take it. Now, Mars is in Aries in its own sign. So watch out here. Mars can equal war, and of course the war is psychological. It's all to do with our heads, our mental health. So be aware of an intensity that is building inside you. That's really what you're to deal with, is your own thoughts. Thoughts create your reality. So make your thoughts count in a positive way for you. Okay, now I want to go to the second and down to the alignment that is in Taurus. Now, firstly, on the 2nd of June, Uranus enters Taurus. So look at where the arrow is there. And this is the change in our value system we have been waiting for, or I have anyway. And I know a lot of people out there in Intel land have been waiting for this period of time. So, more about Uranus. Uranus is the rebel, and it will herald in the revolution along with Pluto. So Uranus forces changes that can actually be shocking. It's not a passive energy. Never has been. It's not. It's an awakening, enlivening, shocking energy. And shocking because changes come without warning. So expect surprises, but they'll be unexpected. The control freaks will not like this one. So if you're one of those people, hold on to your hats, because things are about to get very real here in terms of your values and your worth. Uranus takes 88 years to go around the block. So most of us have no idea of what takes place when Uranus is in Taurus. And if you want an idea of what happened the last time, get onto Google, go back to 1936, and you will see a lot of maneuvering of power that took place in many countries, which led directly to World War II. Yeah, that's what we were looking at. That's what happened the last time. And here we are on the precipice of World War III, and it's a psychological war. Remember that. So we're not going to see the guns and the bombs exploding in the same way as we experienced World War II. This is a different type of war. It may start off with some guns and cannons, but that's not what it's going to pan out into. It's a psychological war. So being aware of that, Uranus will be in Taurus until 2031. So the $1 million question is, when will our currencies be revalued? Sooner or later. The value system includes currency, dollars and cents. It's what we purchase things with. So it's currency as well as value, our value system, and what we are worth or not worth. That this comes into question at the moment. And you're going to have experiences that are shocking, that are forced on you. So will the revaluations happen sooner or later? I personally feel it will be sooner. But, nobody can give dates. You can't give a definitive date. Everything at the moment is event-driven. So forget about dates. And it's my intuition and my view of what's going on astrologically that makes me feel that it is sooner. We're at the beginning of big changes happening. But, it could be any time between now and, I don't know, 2026, 27. It could be any time between that. The second half of this period is likely to be high voltage change that has been going on. It's going to continue to go on. Your life at the end of this period is not going to be the same as what it is now. So for those people who have a strong relationship with Uranus and also Taurus, expect major shifts in your worth. Also where you live, your housing situation and your financial situation. You know, there can be rises and falls in wealth. So you may lose everything, but you may gain more than what you thought. That's the maverick that is Uranus. That's the shocking experiences that you may experience whilst in this phase. So, you know, Uranus is a reasonably slow mover. So the impact of Uranus in Taurus will herald in personal changes, which will be quite awakening and hopefully not too shocking for you. No guarantees there. Can't guarantee what's going to happen to any of us in this period. You know, for those who are seeking change, this may be the period of time you have been waiting for. Think of that. In the first week of June, Uranus is conjunct Mercury, and that's until the 9th of June. So the mixture of these two planets brings high levels of communication. For some, there could be psychic vision for the initiates. You know, perhaps an awakening of vision might happen to you. The vision and communication can be quite intense with these two, Mercury and Uranus. But if nothing else, it is usually quite exciting, very inspirational. Jupiter forms part of the conjunction to Uranus and Mercury, and also the Sun and Venus. The combination here, I feel it like it's beautiful. It's like it's really awakening. This force is really awakening. It's exciting, actually. So some will feel a level of shining in their energy with the Sun and Venus being boosted by Jupiter. Really nice. And don't be surprised if Jupiter brings a phase of fortune or abundance to your life. So watch out for pay rises or new jobs and new opportunities. Jupiter playing out here is one of the reasons why I feel like the revaluation can happen sooner rather than later. Not bad at all. Okay, so, you know, there's a bit of wishing that goes on with that, but if, you know, the forces, they happen, it's what is taken advantage of whilst those forces are in play. Right, so this period right now is a really good time to revalue the currency. Jupiter is going to be a player here. Okay, so I'm going on to the middle of the month, so the 15th of June. And you'll see Mercury pulls away from Uranus and joins the Sun and Venus. And this could herald in noticeable change as Uranus is with Jupiter, giving a boost or a buoyancy to change. So without the Mercury energy being so dominant, right? So it's the 16th that the Sun goes into Gemini. So with both Mercury and Venus, in that combination. So this Gemini, it's the sign of communication. So Mercury and Venus here is also going to add to more communication going on, right? Hopefully it's more truthful communication. So just be aware. So politically, for all of June, you can expect more communications, some good, some shocking. And who's to say shocking is not good, okay? Some life-changing announcements are likely to come out. So be prepared for shocking announcements, for something different to happen. Now, somebody was indicating that the 17th of June was a major day. Now, what's happening here is Pluto is squaring Mars, which is a strong force for assertion and aggression. So Pluto is also trine Jupiter, which is the king of the heavens, meeting the king of the underworlds, Pluto and Jupiter. King of the heavens, king of the underworlds. So these angles between Jupiter and Pluto are always powerful, particularly if you have them in your own personal chart, which I do. So it can be seen as a struggle between dark forces and forces of light, but together as one in union, the power of it is magnificent. It's really, really magnificent. It can boost your confidence. So look out for that. Pluto is also trine Uranus at this time, which is the major force for the awakening. So this angle between Pluto and Uranus will be with us from now and beyond 2024. It's staying in place. So think awakening and transformation. Think revolution and change, deconstruction and rebellion. It's on, it's game on. This is big. This is the awakening. It's happening. So, you know, these two forces, Pluto and Uranus, they're trans-Saturnian planets. They're beyond the personal planets, which is, you know, your Saturn, your Jupiter, Mercury, Mars, Venus, etc. They're the personal players. These big ones are called trans-Saturnian and are the big players in the human experience, which uphold forces that are beyond the normal human day-to-day experiences. This is big. It's cosmic. Okay? It's us being influenced by bigger, more cosmic forces. It helps us to see our spiritual selves, our more cosmic selves, right? And with these forces doing their thing with this great awakening, don't be surprised if you become more aligned with your spiritual self. And at the very least, you start asking questions about it. You start asking questions about, what is this all about? Who am I? What am I doing here? And you may start getting your head into things more spiritual, right? The bigger picture, the way bigger picture is what you're likely to be looking at. So just be aware of that. You know, also in June, don't forget, we've got the solstice, the winter and the summer solstice, and it's on the 21st of June. In the north, it's the longest day, and in the south, it's the shortest day. Now, the good thing for the people in the south, because it's cold at the moment down, you know, the south of Australia, so we get the shortest day, and we're in, you know, the throes of winter. The positive in it is from the 22nd, it starts getting better. The days start getting longer, and we start approaching the warmer months. You know, we're approaching summer. Whereas, you know, you guys that are having the summer solstice, the opposite happens to you. The days start gradually getting shorter. So there's always a positive. There's always a positive to look at. Always. Okay, so now I'm going to the end of the month. And the end of June, we've got Uranus and Jupiter separated. They've separated out, so they're no longer in that alignment. And Pluto goes opposite Mercury. Whoa. So with Mercury, it's still conjunct, still has a conjunction with the Sun at this point. And I think with Venus, it's pretty close. So that combination is still merging and mingling. It is a great set of forces. But we've got Pluto opposite the Mercury. Again, this is strong energies influenced by the Pluto force. So lots of communication happening that will involve transformative elements. So watch out for the political announcements, the revealing of secrets. Pluto is about the underworlds, what's hidden. So secrets being revealed, coming out, being communicated. This is a really good thing. And just a tempter for what's coming in early July, by the way, we have a Mars-Uranus conjunction happening in Taurus. This is early July. And, this is the constellation, again, as I've said, related to values. And it will be trine Pluto. That's hot. That will be very fiery. And I'll speak more about that on July, but it's something to be aware of, that things are really ramping up. It's game on. I think between now and the end of the year, the forces are fairly strong. Okay, so when you've got Pluto's the higher form of Mars, and you've got Mars and Uranus together. Mars and Uranus is like, think of the Che Guevara element of fighting for the revolution. And now you've got Mars and Uranus conjunct, and it's angled to Pluto. It's game on. That's really strong, really, really strong. Perhaps something to look forward to, or know that it's coming. So if you think things are disappointing in June, I don't think they will be. I think things are going to start happening. Then just bear in mind that there is stuff happening, there's stuff coming, and more is going to continue to happen. Okay, so now looking on to the new moon. And remember, I'm a sidereal astrologer, and that is in line with the sky. Okay, the new moon in Taurus is going to happen on the 6th of June. And it's where you can begin your aspirations to do with values. Are you valued for who you are? What is your worth to the world? Put some thought into that. And for those awaiting the revaluation of currencies, this is the time to aspire for change to do with values. So if you haven't been putting energy into being a participant in this change, do it now. Don't wait. Don't wait. So if you want to change your life, put out for it. And the new moon is a really good time for aspiring to do just that. Okay, it's a good time to just put it up there to the gods or whoever's in charge of this show. This is what we want. So new moons can really be the beginning of projects and doing something and getting something. The beginning of intentions for manifesting is the new moon is a great time to start that. So just use it, be part of the change that's happening. And then we have the full moon in Sagittarius on the 22nd of June. And Sagittarius is the sign to do with truth and universal law. I'm talking the real truth, the real law. So are you in your truth, and have you aligned with the higher universal laws? This is a question you want to ask yourself. Okay. And Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. So full moon in Sag is generally a really good one. You should feel this expansion and openness that comes with the Sagittarius energy or the Jupiter energy. So just be aware, tune in, see what it is that you feel. Okay. Now, almost done, guys. Now, the retrograde planets for June. We've got Saturn going retrograde on the 29th of June. So expect changes or a more intense level of learning. What are you going to learn? What experiences are you going to have that are going to teach you whatever? So Saturn is in Aquarius, as I've said. And again, we're going back to your tribe. Who are the people that you want to associate with? Do you need to change them? You might start, if you haven't already, start getting lessons on who you want to have around you and whether the people that are in your life at the moment are actually the people that you want to remain in your life. Something to be aware of. Okay, and we've got Pluto in retrograde still. So good old Pluto, you know, the retrograde of Pluto can be really, it's quite powerful. I've found for myself when Pluto is retrograde that the intensity, yes, it does build up, but somehow, you know, my will engages a lot more with a Pluto retrograde. And remember, Pluto is the higher mode of Mars. So Mars is all about force and will and doing and action. So Pluto there is really, yeah, Pluto in retrograde could, for some people, not everyone, but for some people, get you really active in pursuing what it is that you want to pursue. Okay, guys, so that's pretty well it for June. Look forward to change. Just be very aware. Be prepared. If you're one of those people that, you know, likes things to be in control, you want to be in control of everything, you may be in for a bit of shock here with Uranus doing its thing. If you're one of those people who doesn't value yourself, doesn't see your worth, you're likely to have experiences that reinforce that if that's what you're creating. So you're likely to have conflictual situations that make you see that, hey, I don't want this. I don't want not to be valued. And so Uranus is really going to shake it up and make you see it. So be aware. And I hope, you know, you can always hope and wish that the good things for people, but often it's life-changing what happens with Uranus energy. So be mindful of that. If you're a controlled person, you want to sit down and go, well, perhaps I do need to be a bit more flexible. Have a look at your life and you might find that it is boring. Uranus brings in change that is exciting. And you can say, well, that's fearful. It's often fearful to those that don't like to move and don't like to change and they don't like to shake it up. If your life is one great big boring set of circumstances, you can sit there and go, well, you know what? I want change. I need to change it up. And Uranus will be the force that does that. And for those that do have a good value system, you know, you're an up person and you see yourself as, you know, pretty cool. I value myself, you know, I've got worth. This could be a time of catapulting you forward into something. You can ride the wave of that excitement and that feel good and change. And as I said, it change in circumstances. It could be anything from money to your house to the city that you're living in. All of those things could occur during this period. So just be aware. So, you know, Taurus energy is generally really good because it's ruled by Venus. And Venus energy on its higher mode is absolutely beautiful. But with Uranus coming in here, it's changing what we see as valuable. So it can go, if you're one of those Venus people that is forever buying things and that's what satisfies you, don't be surprised if some of that is taken away from you, if the lessons you need to learn has to do with changing your value system to something that has a lot more integrity. Some people need to learn how to get stuff because you've not had it. Others, all you've had is stuff. And you need to know what life is like without the burden of being buried in stuff. So don't be surprised if Uranus comes along, cattle prod, and changes your circumstances. So you could lose money or gain money. Uranus is an up and down force. It's not gentle at all. It can be a shocker. So it sounds like I'm, it's not doom and gloom. With those that, are into fear and you're fearful of a lot of things, when you get into fear, and those that have anxiety, for example, the other side of the fear is actually excitement. If you can get into realizing that things can be exciting instead of fearful, then it's a game changer. And Uranus is one of those forces that will bring that upon you. Right? I have clients, of course, that have had anxiety, and in their charts, their natal charts, they've generally got a strong Uranus force. And the anxiety is caused by, a lot of shocking experiences and then a fear of what's they think is coming, because based on their past experiences, it's been a bit too shocking and hard to handle. Those people need to change their attitudes towards what is actually happening for them in their chart. These forces are trying to be more awakening. It's not there to shock you and make your life miserable. That's not the intention. It's an awakening force. And when you start believing in yourself, taking responsibility for your emotions, things will change. Have a look at what it is that you fear. What are you frightened of? All those people that, have this anxiety and Uranus is just too much. What is it that you fear? Have a look at it and feel it. And what would your life be like without the fear? Because if you're fearing excitement, wow, you need help, right? And things are going to change and they are likely to be really quite exciting. So that's what Uranus is bringing in. And I'm quite excited about what's coming. So guys, I will leave it there for today. If you've liked what you've heard, please like, subscribe, thumbs up, all of that. Put your comments below, particularly if you'd like me to cover anything that I can use for podcasts in the future. Put your comments down below and I'll certainly have a look at them. And, if I can actually cover the topic, then by all means I will use it. So thank you. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next week. Okay, bye for now. Bye.